Shields up, Ironbreakers. Rurikon here coming at you with another video, and I'd like to start things off by apologizing over being inconsistent with my uploads and live streams over the last couple of days. It's just, the current situation that we're all experiencing throughout the world. You guys know the one that I'm not allowed to talk about, or YouTube will nuke my video. Shh. That thing that everybody is experiencing. It's just been really hectic around my house with my kids just going completely insane and at each other's throats every single day. And I'm trying to record, and then you just hear all kinds of screaming in the background, which makes it completely impossible. And then I end up recording late at night with the worst lighting known to man because, I'm not in the most ideal setup right now. But yeah, that's been extremely hectic for me, and it's been very hard to try and keep up with the things that I want to talk about. But anyway, today I wanted to bring something a little bit different to everyone, because I know that there's a lot of drama going on YouTube and a lot of people jumping in on drama left, right, and center. I'm just kind of tired of all of that, like I've kind of mentioned in my previous video. So today I wanted to focus on something else. Now, when it comes to gaming, the situation that we're experiencing right now has affected gaming in a way that a lot of the things that a lot of us were expecting and looking forward to, a lot of those things have been either delayed or they just have a big question mark on top of them, wondering whether or not they're going to be releasing this year. We don't know. But rather than just focusing on the things we can't have right now, I figured this would be a good time for everyone to dig into their backlog. And I want to see a lot of comments in the comment section of this video. I want to see you guys all talking about the games that you have in your backlog in the comment section. I'm going to give you guys a list of 10 games from my personal backlog of shame. And these are 10 games that some of them are, fairly recent. Some of them are actually quite ancient. And these are games that I would like to get to someday, but I haven't gotten around to it yet. Now, some of these are just games that I consider to be somewhat important for me to play, because they seem like it would be something that I would enjoy and just something that would be important for me as a gamer, something that I've missed out on because at the time I was not able to play them. Stuff like, for instance, Final Fantasy VII that I've talked about recently with the remake and all of that. So, yeah, some of them are more recent, some of them are more ancient, and I want to know what your guys' backlog is, because I'm going to be digging through these comments. I'm going to be trying to find some gems, and then I want to make another video about this where I talk about the ones that I would consider to be the best from the comment section. I'll feature you guys. But anyways, let's get this started. So one of the games that I'm working on right now that I'm not going to be putting on the list is Final Fantasy VII itself. Like I already talked about it in this video. As you guys know, I've played a lot of the Final Fantasy VII remake. I'm still going through it in hard mode. I'm just pacing myself. I'm taking my time to avoid getting burned out, because playing through it twice in a row, there's a lot of, repetition with the side quests and stuff like that. That makes it a little bit more challenging to tackle. But as I'm playing through the hard mode of the remake, I've also been playing the original on my Switch. And no, my copy still has not arrived. Kegrin was kind enough to donate in one of my live streams so that I could just get the digital version and get started while I'm on this Final Fantasy VII high, right? And I've been playing through it, and it's been very interesting. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to be making a video kind of dedicated to that, the remake versus my experience playing the original game in today, in current day, kind of how I feel about all that, which I think is going to be surprising for some people. But yeah, that's the one that I'm working on right now. So now let's talk about stuff that I plan on working on. And these are not in any particular order. I kind of front-loaded the ones that I kind of really have more desire to play, but I wouldn't say that they're the best or anything like that. I didn't really put too much effort into the order of this list, okay? So the first one, which is one that I really want to play, but I can't get to it right now, mostly because it's just extremely inconvenient to play this game because I don't have my Vita handy, or I don't have my Vita TV. I just don't have the proper setup to play this game right now. But it is Soul Sacrifice. Now, as you guys know, I'm a big fan of Soul Sacrifice. I've played the crap out of Soul Sacrifice. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure that I'm at the final boss of the game. And I never finished the game because my spells were just not powerful enough to defeat the final boss, because I didn't do enough side quests and stuff like that. I didn't really power up my spells. and I was never able to finish it. Now, Soul Sacrifice to me is extremely important. It is one that if you own a Vita, or if you own a Vita TV, or if you get a chance to get your hands on one, like dirt cheap, this is a game that I can easily recommend for anyone. It's almost like, think Monster Hunter, but spell casting. Instead of like weapons and armor and crafting from that, no, spells. Spell casting. You're just flinging all kinds of spells. There's also melee combat, but melee combat will be like, you know, special spells that you can do, like you'll conjure up a sword and then you'll slash away with that sword, and that'll be like a sword of a specific element or something like that. So it's just a fantastic title. I've talked about this title at length, and if they could just like do a remake, just like a remake, a remaster, anything, just put it on any current platform. Put it on the PS4, put it on the PS5, put it on Nintendo Switch, just put it on something that is current so that I don't have to go dig up my Vita, whose battery is probably dead 10 times over, to try and play this game on a tiny ass screen. And don't even get me started on the Vita TV, because like, good God, hooking that stuff up to my current setup, I might as well just like, I don't know, I might as well just go solve world hunger, you know? Anyway, yeah, Soul Sacrifice is definitely the first one on my backlog of shame. And like I said, I'm probably like one boss away from finishing that game. Now, the next game on this list is actually a game that I'm going to have a chance to play real soon, which is Xenoblade Chronicles 1. Now, me and this game, we have a very interesting history, which is like, back when I had a Wii, I was going to buy this game. And I never bought it because eventually I ended up picking up like a PlayStation 3 around the time that I was thinking about buying this game or something like that. And then I just started buying games for PlayStation 3, and I just kind of like completely forgot about the Wii. But I remember distinctly, like when I had my Wii, I was like, dude, this Xenoblade Chronicles game seems like so cool. So I never bought it for the Wii, and I never played it on the Wii, but I always thought that it was a cool looking game, right? And then eventually I bought a Wii U at some point. And then a game came out for the Wii U, which was Xenoblade Chronicles X. And whenever I saw the trailer for that, I was like, oh my God, this game looks like amazing. Look at the sense of scale. This thing is insane. So I got Xenoblade Chronicles X for the Wii U. Actually, Nintendo sent it to me. They sent me a code. And Xenoblade Chronicles X, I just loved it. I loved the whole thing. And I know that there's a lot of people that are hoping for a remake on the Switch. I don't think it's going to happen. Developers already said it's probably going to be really hard to get a remake of Xenoblade Chronicles X. But, you know, after Xenoblade Chronicles X, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 came out on the Switch. Played that. Played the expansion, the Torna something, Golden. I didn't like the expansion, the Xenoblade Chronicles 2, as much. But, you know, it was cool. It was still a good game. Still a good story. I still enjoyed it. But, yeah. So I played X, played 2, played the expansion of 2. And, you know, at some point between this, the 3D, like the Xenoblade Chronicles 3D or whatever came out on the 3DS, I played that one for about 70 hours. I kid you not, I have 70 hours on Xenoblade Chronicles 1 on 3DS, but it just kills me playing it on that tiny ass screen of the 3DS. Like, you can barely tell the details of the characters. Like, the game runs fine, the game plays fine, but it's very hard for me to enjoy it on the 3DS. So when they announced that they were releasing a remaster of it, and it looks gorgeous, like they're doing a lot of stuff, they're adding a new chapter at the end, I was like, okay, dude, this is the, like, I'm gonna play this game if there's like 10 people watching on stream. I don't give a damn. I'm gonna play this game if there's 0 people watching on the stream, because I just got to see the rest of the story of this, particularly because Xenoblade Chronicles 2 does connect with Xenoblade Chronicles 1, which I want to see the stuff that, you know, gets talked about in that specific cutscene at the end of Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I want to see, there's so many things that I want to see. I'm just big fan of Xenoblade Chronicles, and I'm very ashamed of the fact that I never finished the original one. But then again, it's not like I really had that many chances, because I can't enjoy it on the 3DS. Sorry. But call me shallow. I don't care. But yeah, that's another one. Then another one in my backlog of shame, and I'm going to get so much shit over this, is Persona 5. I never finished Persona 5. I played about 50 hours of Persona 5 right up until the castle of the Futaba Castle, and that's kind of like where I stopped. And some of you guys are like, well, why can't you just finish these games? Like, what's so hard about it? Is because usually I'm creating content about the stuff that I'm playing, and if I'm not creating content, it makes it very hard to justify the time investment of playing a video game just for fun, because like, well, I should be playing video games that I can create content around because that's my job. Like there's a very hard separation between things that you want to do for fun in gaming and things that you want to do to create content for your channel in gaming. I'm not saying that you shouldn't. I'm saying that it's very hard for me sometimes to dedicate the necessary amount of time, particularly a game like Persona, which is like a 100-hour game. If I'm not creating content around it, it's very hard to justify that type of time investment. Like, you should be spending time with the children, not playing this game, because you're not even working on it, right? So anyways, Persona 5 is another big one. Another one that I really enjoyed, the little that I played of it, is Fire Emblem Three Houses. Never finished it. I really want to get back to it. It's a really good game, very entertaining. Really enjoyed the time that I spent with it, just about from the gameplay to the visual novel aspects of it. I thought it was really cool, and eventually I do plan on getting back to it, but, you know, it's definitely going to be after Xenoblade Chronicles, I'll tell you that right now. But yeah, I need to get back to this. And these are also suggestions, by the way, like maybe if you find yourself like, man, I don't know what to play, like all of these games come highly recommended by me, all of them. Now this next one is a really old one. It's a classic, and I just didn't have consoles at the time. Like I told you guys a bunch of times that my parents never wanted to get me consoles because they were afraid that I would become addicted to video games. But this is a really old one. This one goes all the way back, if I'm not mistaken, from Nintendo 64, Ocarina of Time. I never finished it. Now, I've played it a little bit of it, emulated, but I always have a hard time getting invested on an emulated video game. I don't know why. I'm not very much into emulation. I always like, you know, the idea of actually playing a game in a platform like in a console, or if it was designed for PC, play it on PC. But the idea of emulation, there's just like some kind of block that I don't like the idea. Like, for instance, Xenoblade Chronicles 1, I've had the ROM. I've played a little bit of it emulated at like 4K, 60 FPS, all that jazz, but I can't get invested the same way that I would get invested if I was playing it like on the Switch. Like, I just don't know what it is. So Ocarina of Time is another one that is on my backlog of shame. And again, this one came out on the 3DS, but it's just very hard to enjoy a game like that on the 3DS. As a matter of fact, you know what? I bought this for my nephew. Not actual nephew, kind of nephew. He's more like a little cousin, but I treat him kind of like if he was my nephew. For starters, I bought him a 3DS a long time ago because I was trying to like educate him in terms of gaming. And, you know, because he doesn't have his own TV and all that, he's fairly young. Like, I bought him a 3DS, and then I bought him Ocarina of Time. And, you know, I would buy him these games that I would think like, dude, these are important for you to like get into gaming. These are the ones that you want to play. And this is the same kid that eventually came back to me with Clash Royale. I was like, oh my god. That's what every kid's playing. Now he plays Fortnite and all the usual stuff. And, you know, something very common in Europe, FIFA, plays FIFA. So I'm just like, there's disappointment. And I just gave up on buying games for him, man. It is what it is. But yeah, Ocarina of Time. I definitely want to find time for that one day. Hopefully they'll remaster it on the Switch. That'd be great. That would be fantastic for me personally, but I don't know if that's going to happen or not. And if it doesn't happen, I don't know when or how I will be able to play it, because I definitely want to play it on 3DS. But yeah, then another one, and people are really going to hate me for this one, Witcher 3. I love the game. I think the game is amazing when it comes to the story, when it comes to almost every system around this game. I love it, with the exception of combat. I cannot get into the combat of Witcher 3. I don't know if there's something wrong with me, but it's just, I don't know. I just play the game, and whenever stuff happens in combat, it always seems like there's like these two things that happen. At the start of the game, because I usually play on like a higher difficulty, like I struggle with the combat a little bit, so it's a little bit challenging, right? But then you start leveling up and getting gear and getting all of these things, and then suddenly the combat goes from being a little bit challenging to just like stomping everything. And I'm just like, there's no like middle ground where it's challenging and cool, and no, it's just like you're either getting stomped or you're stomping. And I don't know, but it's not even just that. There's other things, like the fact that early on, if you want to apply oil to your weapons, it's only valid for like 20 swings. And yes, you can level up some skill that improves on that, but you know, it just feels weird. Like, okay, I'm gonna do 20 swings. Now I'm gonna pause. I'm gonna reapply the oil to my weapon, and I'm gonna keep fighting. It's I don't know. There's a lot about it that I'm not a big fan when it comes to the combat, but it's a game that eventually I'm gonna see through. It's just I don't know when. Last time I played it, I went all the way up until a point where you can romance. Crap, did I forget her name? I'm terrible with names. I'm so atrocious. Triss Marigold. And romance Triss Marigold. And I was like, well, I've achieved everything I wanted, because that's what I want. I just wanted to romance Triss Marigold, because I romanced her in Witcher 2, which I actually played Witcher 2 all the way. I never played Witcher 1, but I played Witcher 2 all the way. Greatly enjoyed it, which is why on 3 I'm like, dude, I want to romance Triss. Romance Triss, and I was like, well, I kind of feel like I've achieved everything I set out to do. I guess I finished the game. No, but I know that there's a lot of great content, and eventually I will get back to it. Another game that I definitely want to get to at some point, but this one is a big time commitment as well, is Divinity Original Sin 2. Like, I remember I think it was like, was it 2015 or 2017? The year that I first played this. I don't even remember, but I know that the year that I played this, I only played a little bit of it because I wanted to check out all of the releases that came out that year. I only played a little bit of it, and the little bit that I played of it, I was impressed. I was like, dude, this game's amazing. And it shouldn't have been that impressive because I had played Original Sin 1. I didn't play it all the way through, but I did play 1. I played it co-op with a friend of mine. We did some cool stuff. I decided that I wanted to dig. My friend decided he didn't want it to dig. I won the rock, paper, scissors. So we dug, and an explosive sheep blew up, and we both died. I was just like, 10 out of 10. Would dig again. But yeah, this was in Divinity Original Sin 1, the first one. The second one looks like it's also really cool, really amazing, but it requires a big time investment. And I haven't been able to make that time investment just yet. As a matter of fact, they actually sent me a code to the Switch version, and I was just like blown away. Like, this game can run on a goddamn Switch, like with all the complexity and all that, and it looks good. I only played a little bit of the beginning of the game. It looked good, and it you know, the Switch is something that actually makes it easier for me to play these longer games. Like, for instance, I've been playing a ton of Final Fantasy VII on there. So when I eventually pick it back up, it'll probably be on the Switch. And yeah, I like it a lot, and I do plan on seeing it through. Another game, and this one I think a lot of people are going to give me crap over, but because I think a lot of people don't consider this game to be important. A lot of people just tend to overlook this game, which is Gravity Rush 2. I played the original Gravity Rush when it came out on the Vita. I don't remember if I finished it or not. I think I finished it, but then I replayed it when it came out on PlayStation 4, and I finished it there as well, because I just really enjoy the mechanics of Gravity Rush, the original Gravity Rush. The way that you kind of like fly through the sceneries, the boss fights, all that stuff. I found that game to be really cool, and the story is also really cool. So when Gravity Rush 2 came out, I was always a big proponent of that game. I always said, dude, this game's amazing. And I played it, and again, I wasn't able to create that much content around it, so it became very hard for me to justify the time investment to play that game. But eventually I will get back to it. And you know, it's always the same argument, right? When you're talking about your backlog, you're always thinking in the back of your mind, eventually I'm going to get back to this. And then it's just like, you look back and years have gone by, right? But yeah, Gravity Rush 2 is extremely underrated. Very much like the original Gravity Rush was very underrated. But then again, the original Gravity Rush came out on the Vita, which is a platform that Sony kind of messed up, in my opinion. So, you know, it is what it is. But yeah. Now, this next game, a lot of you might not even know that this game exists. So there are videos, 1 or 2 streams of this game on the channel. And the name of the game is Outward. This is an indie game. I've actually, I've received the key. This is a developer that I had worked with in the past to check out some of their other titles. So they asked me if I wanted to check it out. Like, I didn't even approach them. It was the other way around. And I was like, yeah, sure, send me a code. So I checked it out on PC. And I ended up buying it on the PlayStation 4. Because as you guys know, I like playing a lot of my games on console. And also it's got co-op. And I have friends that also own Outward on PS4. So I bought it on PS4. And this is a game that is very interesting. It's the whole thing, like, you know how in most RPGs you're the chosen one, you're the main character. And in this game you're just kind of like, you're just another dude. You're just another dude. And in order for you to carry like your massive inventory of things, like for instance Skyrim, you would have like tons and tons of inventory, but your character's like whatever. You'd be carrying like the equivalent of, you know, enough stuff to feed like a country, and your character is still just fine. In this game, you actually need to take a backpack with you. And I thought that was cool because, like, the backpack will limit your movements, but you can, like, set the backpack down. Now, I know that a lot of people are like, oh, but that's just contrivance, it's just annoying, but that's the thing. That's kind of like the thing about this game. It's very surprising the way that it does its systems, the way that it does its magic, the way that it does just about everything in the game. It's very surprising, very original. So eventually I would like to get back to it. And I know that this is not going to be a popular one with a lot of people, but if you're someone who likes something different, it is worth checking out, and maybe you will enjoy Outward. And finally, a type of game that I don't tend to dedicate a lot of time into, which is 2D Metroidvania type games. I think the last one of this kind of, well, that one's not really Metroidvania. It's more like just platformer, which was it was Shovel Knight, the last game kind of like of this style that I played, and I greatly enjoyed it. Shovel Knight was freaking awesome. But the name of this game is Hollow Knight. This was given to me in one of my live streams. I don't remember if it was Gru or Super Kamiguru. I think it was Super Kamiguru. It was a long time ago. But Super Kamiguru, if I'm not mistaken, donated so that I could get this game. He told me, like, dude, just play it. And I played well, maybe not a significant chunk. I played a bit of it, but I always struggled to get into these 2D platformers for some reason. But this one, it's definitely something special. And eventually I'd like to get back to it, but for now, it's still sitting on the backlog of shame. But like I told you guys, I want to hear from you. I want to know what games you have on your backlog of shame. And, maybe if you're sitting around in quarantine, you're bored to death, the game that you were waiting for doesn't seem like it's going to be coming out anytime soon, check the comments, check out some of the games that I talked about, and, maybe you'll find one of these on discount or something like that, and you should probably get it, try it out for yourself, see if you'll enjoy it. It'll make the time go by faster, and maybe you'll have some fun while you're doing that. But anyway, I can't wait to see what you guys type on the comment section. Thank you all very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. If you did not enjoy this video, hit the dislike button, because feedback is important. I'll see you guys on the next one. Stay strong. May your shields never break. Wash your hands. Stay safe. Stay home.